Yak Gadget, made in America, based outside of Nashville, Tennessee. Yak Gadget offers all kinds of storage accessories, quick mount motor mounts, anchor systems, track mounted accessories, even paddles. Go to yakgadget.com and get your kayak decked out for your next trip out on the water.
The 153 Bait Company, based in Troy, Ohio, make everything from plastics to custom painted hard baits. Hook 'em hard and hook 'em often. All of our baits are made to order, and all of our hard baits are hand painted to order. So go to the153anglers.com to place your order today.
Based in Santa Ana, California, Bioenno Power provides the highest performance lithium-ion phosphate batteries for the marine market. These batteries are 1/4 the weight of sealed lead-acid batteries, provide over 2,000 to 3,000 charge cycles, and a 10-plus year service life. These batteries can be used for any deep cycle application, including running fish finders, trolling motors, live wells, and LED lights. For more information, visit bioennopower.com. That's BIOENNOPOWER.com or contact dealers nationwide.
Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. This is the final cast segment with your hosts Brad Hicks and Josh Eldridge, where we cast our final opinions on all products, good and bad. Welcome to the final cast. You're listening to the final cast on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm Brad.
What's up, everybody? It's Josh.
How you doing, Josh?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Good. It seems like it's been a while.
Well, it was like a week.
Seems like it's longer than that. I don't know why, but we got a cool episode tonight, man. Somebody local to us, they're running a cool little livery service, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, mobile livery service.
Yeah. So Shaun Tait, welcome to the show, man.
How you doing?
Good.
Glad to be here.
So yeah, I heard of you through Ryan Dahl. He's one of my buddies that I've fished with on the river a few times. He speaks highly of your service and he loves it. So I was like, I need to get this guy on because it sounds like a cool concept. Nobody else is doing it, and I want to bring it to people's attention to help you grow, but then maybe to inspire somebody else in other states to do the same thing, because kayak fishing is getting so big and popular nowadays. So
it is.
Let's start off with like a background of you. Let us know a little bit about you.
Okay. So I've grown up in the Dayton area, been here since I was about 10 years old, and I've always fished. I started off fishing Carriage Hill for largemouth.
Mm-hmm.
I've fished Taylorsville Dam. I used to ride my bike to Taylorsville Dam. So I've been fishing my whole life. I've been fishing the Great Miami my whole life. Mm-hmm. And just recently, about the past 5 years, I've got into kayak fishing. I started out with a Pelican sit inside. After about 6 months, I quickly upgraded to a Vibe. So I'm currently a Vibe guy. I have a Shearwater 125, and I also have a Sea Ghost 110. And those are my personal kayaks. But getting to my business, Dayton has invested millions of dollars into paddle sports. Mm-hmm. We have the kayak play areas. Eastwood, we have downtown the kayak play areas, and like you said, nobody's doing what I'm doing. There's nobody that offers any kind of rentals or any kind of mobile livery service, and I've just been thinking about it ever since I first got into a kayak, and it's kind of grown, and I've just been buying kayaks. I built a custom trailer that I can fit them all on, and one day I actually got mad at my boss, and I said, man, I think I'm just going to quit and see how this thing goes. And so this is my first year. It's still a little bit early in the season. I've been getting some business, but I've had so many inquiries. I've talked to so many people. So now that kayak season is getting ready to ramp up, I want people to know that I'm here, that I offer mobile livery service. The areas really that I like to focus on are from 571 in Tip City, mm-hmm. To the Moraine boat launch and everywhere in between on the Great Miami for the most part, but I also will do shuttles on the Mad River. I'd like to stay away from the Spangler Road area just because it gets a little dangerous, but also the Stillwater River. But yeah, I see a need for it. There's a need in the community, and I want to help fill that need and play on the river doing it. So
yeah, and that need is, you're in the perfect spot because we have like 4 or 5 rivers in this area within 30 minutes. It's pretty incredible.
And we have an awesome fishery too. I mean, the Great Miami just hold in, and I seen your 20 that you caught. So congratulations on that.
Thanks. Yeah, I still can't believe that fish.
Man, it's awesome. I mean, when you catch a 20-inch fish, you're just on a high for months.
Yeah, I've been fishing for that thing for 8 years. It's just crazy. I was with Josh when he caught his. It blows my mind, that stretch that Josh caught his off of. I know of 3 other fish that came out of there over 20. So I'm like, it's cool, man. But
yeah, where else can you go and know that you have a chance to catch a 20-inch smallie? I mean,
nowhere else in this area I can think of unless you go up north.
Yeah, it's you're looking at having to go up to Erie, and I've read some stuff about how well the Great Miami fishes when it comes to smallmouth, and it's always had a good reputation. I think it's only gotten better with the amount of time, like the conservancy districts are putting into trying to save the rivers in our area. The more work they can get done, the better. And I don't know if you guys caught one of the Facebook posts the other day where somebody was talking about, hey, what do you think could be help improve, the fisheries in this area? Or it was maybe in Ohio. And so, there was all this thing about slot limits and blah, blah, blah. And I think the number one thing is that people don't take them. You know what I mean? Stop taking bass. So if you want to put a slot limit in for that reason, yes. But I think our number one biggest issue is the condition of our waterways. I think what you've seen over time and why it's gotten better is because of EPA standards and that sort of thing have gotten stricter. So you don't have industries pumping the crap into the rivers that they used to back a long time ago. And especially in the Dayton area, it's almost kind of weird, man. It's like a lose-win situation. You had a lot of manufacturing businesses that have fell out in the Dayton area, which brought, a lot of property stuff down. And, you've seen this struggle that Dayton had with so many, we had a good industrial stronghold here. You had GM, you had this and that, and with those companies going away. But I think at the same time, it's helped the environment around in the generalized area as well. That like the Great Miami River, man, dude, sometimes it's crazy to see the shad in there, it's like just you're like, man, look how many there are, and you're in a good area when you're seeing it. The problem is always it comes and goes still, but I think that's that would be my number one thing to say was what could get the water, our lakes and waterways better is just clean them up, man. It's sad, I guarantee right now you go down in some of those areas that we fish, Brad, and you're going to be like, dude, look at all the garbage everywhere because of everything, with the river, the way it rose so quickly in the past few days. But definitely, Shaun, I think that you're on to something, dude. I think me and Ryan were going to fish one day, and I ended up not being able to. And he might have went out or something weird, but it's a great idea, dude. It's because that's one of the things that kind of drives people, I think, not to want to go is they're like, man, I don't know if I want to pull my boat upstream or do this, you know what I mean? Or that. I don't have, nobody can go or,
right.
It could be kind of a pain. And what better way to be able to just get your boat together and launch and know that somebody can come and get you or vice versa,
Vice versa too, and really that's how I'd like to operate. I mean, I obviously I'm open for both ways, but I think it would probably help me and help the customer more if I could meet them at the drop-off location where their vehicles are. I could load their kayaks up, then I could take them upstream, and then I'm not waiting on them. They can go back to they can kayak back to their vehicle at their leisure
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about me. I don't have to worry about them.
That's gone through my mind quite a bit because I fished a lot by myself last year with Corona and stuff. I'd be off a few days, and no, everybody else would be at work. I'm like, how am I going to do this? I resorted to putting a motor on my kayak, but I know that's not feasible for a lot of guys. But
right.
Yeah, good idea, man.
Yeah. I hope it works out. It is a need, and so I've had all kinds of inquiries. People message me on Facebook. So I'm definitely onto something. And I heard on a podcast not too long ago that the spring of 2021 is going to be a launching point for a lot of people in the paddling sports industry's career.
I believe it.
So, and you already see that. I mean, the more I'm out on the river, I already see so many more people. And I think that's only going to grow. So it's good to be a positive influence on the river, because we do have to do our job. We want to make sure that we're practicing catch and release, especially those big 19, 20-inch smallmouth. That we're taking our trash out, that we're picking up after ourselves. We do have to take care of the fishery, but
but it's great because it is getting better. Like it's overall getting much, much better as things tighten up. Like it sucks at the same time when you see those businesses that were so rooted here in Dayton, but at the same time you're like, like that's probably why the fishing's gotten better. Less pollution, man. And they're also getting rid of all the stupid low-head dams.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it, but I do think that it does help over time. I don't know. I to be honest with you, I think it'll make the fishing a little bit more easier because when you try to fish up on dams, it creates a lot of garbage in the water. Those low-head dams do because they start getting stuff stuck down underneath there. Everybody's throwing the lures in the same, current creases, you know what I mean? And you're like, dude, I've lost 10 lures to the same log year after year after year,
Yeah.
And because I guarantee if you went and dove in some of those areas, you'd crack up. You'd be like, there's somebody I met, dude, on the river last year, and he was like floating up on the Miamisburg Dam, dude, and he goes and pulls off all of his Southwick jerkbaits, dude, off of this one tree like that. He's like, I get them back every year. He gets in the kayak and goes up there. And he's like, and I also find like, anywhere from 20 to 50 lures that aren't mine,
Yeah.
And he's like, it's on the same stupid log that's underneath the water, like.
Yep. That's funny.
We'll shout out to that dude. If he finds any mega bass crankbaits, those are mine.
Those are expensive.
So, Shaun, what was the idea of where you came from? With this idea, what were you thinking? Like originally, did you have some frustrations within your own kayak game, or what? What kind of spawned this whole thing?
So really, it's the fisherman. I'm a fisherman, and even if you go with 2 or 3 people, it's still a pain.
Yeah.
Because you have to take 2 vehicles, and by the time 2 vehicles, you all got to meet at one place. You all got to fit your kayaks in the same vehicle. You got to, then once you're done, one person has to go back, and it's just a pain. So even with me, I can help that.
Yeah.
And it was a frustration of mine. Just, everybody would like to just go out on the river and know that you have somebody there to pick you up or to drop you off. But I also don't know if that can pay all the bills. So that's why I decided to add rentals into that. So currently right now I have 7 just sit-in style Pelican kayaks that I rent out. But I also have 2 bona fide SS107s that I put some Garmin fish finders on. They got anchor wizards, the bomb anchors, and I figure I could probably do some charters or rent those out. And that's what I offered on the small jaw brawl. Hey, if you come from Columbus and you don't want to haul your kayak, come down here and give me a call. I'll let you use mine for the day. And so
that was something I was going to ask about too. You have bona fide 107s. What made you go with the bona fide?
So actually, I got a good deal on them. I do like the bona fides. I have a buddy that he has a bona fide 127, and he has the Bixby motor on his. We both have Bixby's. So I like his, and I came across somebody that was selling them. They had bought them, had them in the water 2 or 3 times, and they were selling them for pretty cheap. So I snatched them up. So that's how I ended up with the bona fides. I'm actually a Vibe guy. My own personal kayak is a Vibe. But yeah.
You can see my background. I got a big bona fide background back here.
Yeah, I see that. I'm
in a 127 also. I love that thing.
Yeah, but we all know your journey with kayak, so it doesn't even count, Brad. Stop.
No, I'm done, dude. I'm sticking with bona fide. They're good kayaks, man.
They are, but I don't believe you.
That's a cool. That's another little cool thing that caught my eye, though, is you're renting out these bona fides that are like fully loaded and having all the fish finder and everything on it. Nobody else is doing that.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, and you're spoiling your customers because those things are extremely comfortable. I mean, you got Anchor Wizard. It's arguably one of the best kayak products ever made for a kayak. And then you got a DeBomb anchor. That's the best anchor on the market. I don't care what anybody says.
Doesn't get any better.
Yeah. Battleship out there. It's awesome.
So yeah, if I could take the number one accessories and put on a kayak, I mean, that's what they are. The Anchor Wizard, you got to have it. Yep. You got to have an anchor. A fish finder is nice. You don't have to have it, but it's nice. But the Anchor Wizard, the bomb anchor, yeah, they are phenomenal. So
they are the bomb.
They are the bomb.
That's so cool. Do you have plans for increasing like your fully rigged kind of lineup like in the future?
I am. I don't know if I'm going to go bona fide. I'm probably go a little cheaper route because what I would like to do with the bona fides is keep those more for advertising. Yeah. They look nice on the top of my trailer, and use those for charters. If somebody wants to go out with me on the water, I'll set them up on a bona fide, take them out, show them how to catch some smallmouth. Yeah. So I'm thinking. I actually went and looked today. Maybe a Vibe, maybe a couple more Vibes, and use those that I can rent out to people.
Have you thought about doing pedal drives or anything like that for people who want to go out on lakes?
I own a pedal drive, and I don't know that I haven't ever been on a Hobie, so I don't know what the Hobie drive system's like, but I don't know that the Vibe pedal drive is up to an industrial standard. I don't think if I rented it out every day to somebody, and I hate to bash Vibe like that, but I don't think if I rented those out to somebody every day that they would last very long.
Well, to be honest with you, dude, that's not a Vibe thing. That's just a kayak thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if you're looking at a Jackson or a Hobie or what. All these drive systems eventually have problems. Like there's this big thing where everybody wants to shit on Jackson or, give Hobie crap. I mean, Hobie's 360 drive has problems. It's new. I mean, even the Jackson drive is relatively new still too.
Right.
To be honest with you, I like the Jackson drive system. I like the Hobies. I think they both have like good points, or whatever. And, you've seen some of these other ones like Old Town, tried and true PDL system. But there's some stuff about it that you're like, well, what if it only had this, So, but I mean, dude, I would think it'd be maybe something you could, if you ever you have one, maybe put another one and you would just have it and you could give somebody the experience of that. Cause that's a big selling point I think you would have. I don't think you'd have to necessarily go to make this thing like, if it's up to you, like how expensive you would want to go. But I would think that you could maybe look at like one of these, dealers in the area and say, hey, I'll push customers to you guys, if, maybe they could cut you a deal on a kayak or something weird like that. But here's what I would say, though. This is going to be a big benefit. There is a lot of people that come on questioning whether or not they should get a pedal drive or a normal kayak. And it is not always very easy for people to get in those pedal drives unless you're like somebody like Strictly Sail that's they got a big, huge inventory of it. You know what I mean? But
Right.
sometimes there's a lot of places that you're like, man, I can't even demo this kayak. And we all here at Paddle and Fin and the whole community are always like, oh, demo. And you're like, well, I can't. I'm sort of limited on what I can try, but at least you could get somebody in the, I don't know, have the experience of what a pedal drive is like, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you don't have to, maybe not have to like rent it out, like for full days at a time, but like have it there available if somebody wants to try it out, and you can knock down like maybe what the cost of charging somebody to use it or something weird. I don't know.
Right.
It's just something that I know that I think there's a little bit of a missing area for, you know, is to be able to kind of get out there and try these pedal drives or something, you know, like, or maybe you even link up with like some of the dealers and you're like, hey, you know, like these guys can we come down, like, you know, get together, whatever. And, you know, you could kind of help out with that. I don't know. I like what you're doing, man. There's a lot of open like areas that you can explore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, there is. I'm actually, one of the things I'm actually thinking of and in talks with right now is there's a restaurant that's on the river close to me, and so I've reached out to them. I think I have a meeting sometime this week of maybe where we can do some kind of paddle night, you know, with them. So there's so many ideas, and I just gotta kind of feel around and see which one works for me, and you know, because obviously I can't do everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm in that stage, that kind of figuring out stage, and yeah, there's just so many ideas.
That's the exciting part, though, man. Trying to figure everything out. Yeah, I know when I do something stupid like rigging a kayak, and you're just going through the process of figuring out what you want to do. That's the fun part.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of things I got to follow. So I didn't know that as a business, you're not just allowed to launch at any public place, you know. So I'm right now I'm in the talks with the Five Rivers Metro Parks. They are the ones, so they don't own the land. They actually lease the land from the Miami Conservancy District, it seems. So I have to have permits through them. So they finally issued my permits last week for Eastwood and for Huffman. I'm currently working on Riverscape, Taylorsville Dam.
I didn't know that.
And this is only because you're doing something commercial, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. And they might not have known. I mean, of course, if I had all kinds of business and I'm there multiple times every day, which I hope is what's going to go on, you know, they would finally begin to catch on. But I wanted to find out what I had to do up front to do it right.
Yeah.
So apparently going through them, getting permits is the right way to do it.
Is this something yearly you have to renew, or?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taxes, man.
And taxes. I mean, you know, I'm learning taxes. So
Are you having to carry like insurance at all?
yes, I did have to carry $1 million insurance policy.
Yeah, there's a lot more into it than I thought it would be.
Yeah, and
Brian's like, all I need is a trailer. Well, shoot, I can do that. Like,
No.
well, and so that's actually how it happened. I bought a trailer, I bought all the equipment, and then I went to the Metro Parks, and I kind of flagged down one of the rangers one day, and I said, hey, what happens if I start doing this? And she said, you can't do that. You got to have a permit. I said, well, you don't understand. I quit my job. I started this business. And she said, well, you probably should have started getting permits through us before you quit your job. But I think those are the things I wouldn't be able to navigate. You know, and put my 100% effort into it without, you know, full time. So that's what I did. You know, my wife, she's very supportive, and she said, quit your job. Let's make this work. So, you know, I have that time to figure out what I have to do,
Right.
you know, to do things right. And so
You could also, like, you could do this to where you don't have an off season also and invest in dry suits if you wanted to.
Well, that's something I'm going to have to figure out when I get there, you know, 'cause people don't kayak all year round. I mean,
Yeah.
I do.
Get them.
You guys probably do, but the general public does not.
Yeah, Brad.
kayak
Most
in
of the
winter
people
time.
who are doing that have been involved with it for a while. They're like, the kind of like the last people that are going to be like, oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, that's not true. Let me think about that. I mean, you could do that. Like most of those Ohio River guys aren't, because they're going to be launching and going back to the same place. But
Yeah.
if you wanted it locally still to be doing some rivers and stuff like that, like, yeah, still be useful, except Shaun will be like, dude, where are these guys? I'm freezing my ass off out here. Like,
They'll change their mind though when they catch a fish in the dead of winter.
yeah.
Absolutely. That'll warm you up real fast.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, it does. You mentioned your boundaries. So you said 571 in Tip City to East River Road, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
the moraine boat line, and I'm not saying that I won't go outside of that. Like,
Okay.
like I actually, I think I might have an event coming up I'm not 100%, but they're going to have 4 or 5 rentals. So yeah, of course, and this is in the Bellbrook area, Little Miami River. So of course I will. There's 4 kayaks. So yeah, I'm not saying, but if one person calls me and says, "Hey, I need you to pick me up in Miamisburg and take me to," that's probably a little bit out of my wheelhouse. And
Okay. Well, I mean, is that something you would consider if like you would have to change the rates? I guess
I would have, and I would, and I mean,
Okay.
if somebody wants to pay that extra, $30 for me to come get them in Miami,
Right.
then of course I'll do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking Hamilton down at the furthest, because once you get down past Hamilton, the smallmouth fishing's not as great.
Right.
That's interesting.
So that's the one thing I kind of got to navigate is how I'm going to service those areas that are a little further away and still be able to pay bills, still be successful.
Yeah, I imagine most people would understand that too. If it's out of the vicinity, the rates are obviously going to go up. So I'd expect most people to understand that and not give you any grief over it.
Right. Yeah, I did a shuttle today. I actually picked somebody up in Springfield, and they had me shuttle a tandem bike to Cincinnati, and they paid me $135. So,
Oh, you do bikes too?
well, I do now, I guess. I didn't plan on doing bikes, but once that happened, that you kind of was like, wow, these we have bike trails that are all along the same paths as all the waterways, so
We have super extensive bike trails around here. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
we do. And if you think about it, there's nobody renting bikes.
Yeah.
Nobody renting bikes, nobody renting kayaks. And we have the trails are the same. All the bike paths go along the waterways, the Little Miami, the Great Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's doing it.
Yeah. And these trails, they're connected throughout the country too. Like from the trails here, you can get across to the other side of the country from.
Right.
Yeah.
They're all interconnected. Yeah.
Ridiculous. So I can't really think of what I was trying to say, but all right. We talked about the guiding stuff. Let's go over that a little bit. Like, you take somebody down the river. This has always crossed my mind. You take somebody down the river. Do you teach them how to fish? How does that work?
I would. So that's where I would spend more time. I wouldn't really be fishing. I'd kind of be more in a teacher mode. For some reason, I'm just always kind of a teacher by nature.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to take somebody 15, 16, 17 years old, anybody out on the river and let them catch their first smallmouth. Or, the feeling is it's something you never forget. And yeah, I would trade my fishing pole for a net and just paddle around, tell people where to cast, show them, hey, these are seams, smallmouth like to hang out here. And, and just kind of show them kind of the different, some of the different rigs you can use on the water, some of the different things you can use for smallmouth, the locations to find them. And yeah, I just love to net fish for them, take them off, retie their hooks. So the only thing with that is I like to use expensive stuff. I'm a well, Ned rig, but I mean, as many times as you snag on the water, you're using Z-Man stuff. So if I do end up chartering, I'm gonna have to find a cheaper way to to catch fish, because I don't want to just keep handing out Z-Mans every time somebody breaks off in the river.
Oh yeah, understand that. Do you provide the poles and everything too then for them?
I do, yeah. Okay. Actually, yeah.
Cool. What do you guys, or what does a customer, what do they expect to use when on the water with you?
So I was gonna buy one of the Dobbins reels or one of the Dobbins rods, and I'm a big I'm a Fluger reel guy, so I was gonna put the Fluger Presidents on them. I actually talked to guys at Fisherman's, and they're like, "Man, people just do not treat rods and reels the way that you treat them." He said, "If I was you, I'd go buy a couple ugly sticks and put some put some Fluger Presidents on them and use them." And that's what I did. And you know what? I think I'm switching back to ugly sticks.
You like them?
So I so it's an ugly stick. It's just a medium fast action. And I put a Fluger reel on it, and I lined it with braid. And I'm telling you, it is as sensitive as my Enigma. I'm an Enigma guy, and it's just as sensitive as my Enigma. So I actually sent Ryan Dahl a picture of one of the big smallmouths I caught, and he's like, "Dude, you got a ugly stick?" I'm like, "I do."
That guy's using like the St. Croix tournament legend and a Stratic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I caught my first big small. I mean, it was literally 1/16 of an inch below a 20, and it was on a GX2, ugly stick GX2 with the little loose carbon fire, the one you can get like at Walmart.
Yep.
This is literally what it was. It was like the first like rod combo that I built. And yeah, dude, I mean, it works.
I honestly think because I'm tough on equipment. I beat it up. I don't know how many limbs I'm hung up in the back with my, in the back of my kayak and a rod holder. So
yeah.
Save myself some money.
Yeah, and it just makes sense too. If you're guiding, there's no reason to be putting $300-$400 rods in the hands of people who are trying to learn.
You're right.
There's no reason for it, and I don't have a super expensive taste. I've learned where to blow money and where not to. One thing I've not dropped a lot of money on is fishing rods. And reels for that matter. I have expensive stuff, but I find stuff a lot of times on sale. When I say on sale, I'm not talking about like 10 or 20% off. I catch stuff at where it's like 40, 50% off. Like I bought 2 Fenwicks that are like $300 rods. Not this past Christmas, the Christmas before. And the only reason I bought them is because they were 50% off because they were redesigning the rod. So I was like, dude, a $300 rod for $150? Yeah, I'll do that, all day long. Yeah. And then I have a real nice lose that was like $270 I got for $130. And the reason why it was $130 is because it's a left-handed retrieve, which I love. I didn't do the whole switch hands thing, and I love it because you can find reels that get overstocked. And Tackle Warehouse once in a while, like around Christmas time or a little bit after Christmas, we'll have them anywhere from 40 to 60% off. So it's like, but to be honest, I can't bring myself to be like, yeah, dude, I'm going to go get that new St. Croix. I'm like, as much as I'd love it, I just can't do it, because I'm the same way, Shaun. I'm super tough on my rods. I've thrown 3 of them in the water, and this is in the past, 3 years. I've lost 3 in the water, broke probably 7. It's a constant revolving door of new crap. And it's funny as I just buy the same stuff over and over again because I kind of found something relatively cheap that I like, and it's sensitive enough that I think I get away with it. But there's no reason, I think, if you were going to do that guide, if you're doing the guiding and stuff, there's nothing wrong with the Ugly Stick series. It's rock solid, man. I have a catfish rod, Ugly Stick catfish rod series that I specifically bought by reading, some stuff about it. And every guy who was doing guide servicing was like, buy the ugly stick catfish rods because they're relatively cheap and they're like virtually indestructible. Like
You can't break them,
Yeah.
right?
So
Yeah, I think I'm an ugly stick guy now, so I'm gonna put an ugly stick sticker on the side of my kayak.
I love it, dude. That's awesome.
Maybe if I pull enough 20-inch smallmouth out of the water, they'll start sending them to me for free.
How many 20s do you got under your belt?
So to be honest, I'm not really I don't take my hog trough, my catch, my board with me every time. So I honestly don't know. I've caught a few in my life, but I don't know. I'm not big on weight. I take a picture and I let them go.
Yeah.
So
I can respect that, man.
I know 20 is like the holy grail, and I have some. I mean, I've fished up in Michigan since I was a kid. We'd go up there, and I know you pull 4 of them in, and they're all over 19 inches. So I don't have a number.
I'll take 19 inches any day.
Oh yeah, man, I'll take 16 inches. I mean,
yeah,
16
yeah.
inches.
Dude, wait till you go up to St. Clair and you catch a 16 or 17. You're going to swear it's a 21-inch smallmouth too. Like that's what's really funny. And you're going to pull it out and you're going to see it flash. You're like, that's a 20. And you get it out and you're cracking up because it's this like Nerf ball that's like 16 inches long, dude. It's so funny. You guys are going to love it up there, man. But
yeah, I can't wait to go. So I'm actually going. We were going to plan St. Clair next week, and then the week after that, I'm going down to Lake Cumberland. So
heck yeah, dude.
That area is awesome too.
Yeah, I went last year for the first time, and it's deep, and I'm not a deep water fisherman. I'm used to rivers, so
yeah, same here. I need to get over that hump, but there's a few spots in the Great Miami River where 15 feet deep, I've marked fish and I've pulled them out.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah. Going back to the guide thing though. So do you ever, when guiding have you had any guide trips yet?
I have had one, yes.
Okay. So when you're going down the river, I mean, do you kind of avoid the hot spots, or do you have them people fish it? Like, how does that work? Because I would struggle with that.
And I think that is going to be my struggle, because I did have somebody that invited me to come up to Sydney. And I went up and fished with him in Sydney, and he showed me a really nice stretch of river. And he's like, man, nobody ever fishes it, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, it'd be an awesome place. And I said, do you realize what you're doing? I said, I run a business and I'm going to be putting people on the river. I said, so how are you going to feel 2 months from now when I'm introducing 10 new people, on the river? Are you going to like that? And that's something that I think I'm going to have to struggle with, because, I do know where some of those hot spots are, and how do I balance that? Because I do want people to catch a 20-inch smallie. Right. I do, because that's only good for my business. But I have friends on the river too that fish those spots, and so I'm going to have to kind of balance that, and I might make some people mad along the way, and I'm sorry for that in advance. But the only thing I can do is I can promise that I'm a catch and release fisherman, and I will pass that on to my clients.
Right.
So, if you see me somewhere and one of my clients pulls out a 16, I mean, they're going back in the water.
Yeah.
Period. So I don't know how I'm going to navigate that yet, because I was just thinking, Ryan, he was like, you got to take them up north, and I'm like, well, yeah, I do, but I also want them to catch 18 and 19, and I know where they're at. So
yeah,
I hope I don't make people mad.
Yeah.
You know what, Shaun? Who cares, dude? I'm kind of tired of that conversation. Like, I've watched people just have the same discussion about spots being blown up and whatever, and everybody makes the little game of saying, oh, well, I just don't want my place to get trashed. I'm like, dude, I've seen you guys out there. You ain't picking up trash.
Right.
Shut up, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't cleaning the place up. You're not doing that stuff. Like,
right.
They just don't want people catching their fish.
Exactly. And it's not their fish. It's public waterways. If you want to take somebody out there, Shaun, you take whoever you want out there, Now, Ryan's your buddy. You have to deal with Ryan. But, but I'm just saying, like, if you have the opportunity to do that, dude, and what you're doing, in my opinion, there's nothing really negative about it. You're introducing people to fishing. You're getting people involved. You are a catch and release guy. I'm sure you're the kind of person that takes care of the water. If you see some trash, you're going to pick it up, throw it in your kayak, that kind of stuff. So, and one of the things that I think, and if you guys have an interest in this, I've been kind of toying around with this idea of trying to get some cleanup stuff like kind of together in some of these sections. And I want to start aiming this at some of these dudes who be complaining. You know what I mean? I want to be like, hey, that's fine. All right. Yes, people blow up spots. I get it, dude. Like, it's been happening. It's always going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. And it's just, you guys don't own it. But instead of us complaining and being mad at each other on Facebook, let's all get together and be like, hey, dude, let's get 100 people out here, man. There's enough of us. There's thousands of people on Ohio game fishing. There's thousands of people on the GMR sites and stuff like that. Like, let's get together. Let's go clean up some sections of this river, because I know there's some sections that are absolutely disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting, man. And, and this is going to go out to us. You guys, some of this stuff is ours. I walked the river the other day and I got 10 brand new lures, 10 lures out, from where it was flooded out or from where people break off and they can't get it. And then the water recedes again. Right. So we're contributing to it as well. We're throwing lead in there. We're doing all kinds of stuff. There's fishing line. I know, we've all had incidences of we've had to cut something. You're like, that sucks. I don't want, or you break off and you're like, there's 50 yards of line when I broke off because it broke off in my reel. You know what I mean? I didn't doing it on purpose, and you can't get to it. It snapped back and disappeared. But I don't know, man. It's just I don't think you have any reason to have to kind of feel bad about unless you just keep going to the same place over and over again. But overall, man, I think. I would almost be like, hey, put it in your customers' hands. Be like, where do you have an interest to float at? What is there something that you want to see, visually? What do you want to go for something scenic? Are you trying to fish? What is it?
Right.
And go ahead. Sorry.
No, and that's kind of what I was thinking. You get more up north, it's a little more scenic and a little more slow moving, and once you get down past Taylorsville Dam and in the Heber Heights and the Needmore area, then you start getting into residential and city. And so, it is what they want and what their end goal is.
Yeah, man, that makes it such a unique river too, because you're going from scenic to downtown Dayton, catching fish in an urban setting. It just blows your mind.
But where else can you be in a downtown setting, catch 14, 15, 16-inch smallmouth and see bald eagles on the river? I mean, it's phenomenal. It really is phenomenal.
Pretty cool, man.
We have a cool fishery, and it seems like I see them eagles. It doesn't matter if I'm at Taylorsville Dam or if I'm down in Moraine. I see those bald eagles.
I saw a few up in Heber Heights one time. 3 of them just chilling on a branch. I was like, that's cool.
It is cool.
I saw one chase an osprey out, and the osprey was twice the size of the eagle.
Really?
Yeah, me and my buddy Tyler were wade fishing over in Miamisburg, and we're just sitting there fishing, and we saw the osprey diving in the area, actually around us, not real close, but I don't know, about 50 to 100 yards away from us. And we finally saw him catch a fish, and he's big, man. He's huge. You could hear him hit the water, and catches a fish, flies up, starts taking off, and then you just hear this screeching. And it's this jet eagle, or this I call it the jet eagle, because it literally came in like a fighter jet, and it's a bald eagle. And dude, it comes just hauling ass in and chase out osprey around for a while until it dropped the fish. And the osprey tried to land up in the tree, and the eagle kind of kept coming and circling around, and it just got super territorial, man. It chased that osprey around, and literally that osprey was almost twice as big as the eagle.
Wow, that's all.
And he wasn't having that thing in his area. It was pretty awesome. We tried to videotape it, but when you're trying to do that with a phone, it looked you can barely see. It's like 2 little tiny dots in the sky, but
that's all good. But Sydney area, man, I floated that for the first time last year. Incredible, completely different river up there.
It is completely different, and it was beautiful. I didn't catch a lot of big fish. It seemed like the smallmouth were smaller, but it's a beautiful fishery.
Yeah, it's like something you would see out of like a movie about Tecumseh and Shawnee or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, the day I was there, I think I counted. We seen like 14 deer or something. Because you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. That the thing that got me was like shallow, fast moving riffles with these huge boulders.
Right.
Huge boulders. And then you go through a section that has nothing but flat rock.
Right.
Like the whole bottom's flat, and then it drops off. There's more flat rock, and then it comes back up shallow.
But it seems like you can find the hole, because there's not as many deep holes. So you're floating along. It's a foot deep, 4 feet. So this is where I need to fish for the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yep. It kind of makes you wonder where they go in the wintertime, too.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with Steve Coomer or not, but he says river smallmouth can travel up to 30 miles to find their winter hole.
Yeah, I actually read his book. He's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also think we still have a lot of low head dams on that river. You know, so they're not
right.
I mean, they're still going to be somewhat restricted here and there, but yeah, man, I think what you would see that, Brad, is a lot of the areas, because like you're talking about, we always kind of goof around about how the Great Miami is like scenic 1 second, urban setting, because it goes through so many, like, I don't want to say major cities, because like Sydney's not like a major city, but when it hits areas like Sydney and Troy, and then it hits Dayton, it keeps getting bigger and it goes back down. Gets big, goes back down. And when the Great Miami starts rolling back down through, the Franklin area and like down, it gets a little smaller again. Like when hits through West Carrollton, it kind of shrinks down a little bit, travels through Miamisburg, and then widens back out again. Like. It's a really weird river. I think what also makes it so good, though, is there was so much rock dumped into that on top of whatever natural stuff was. Like there's so many old bridges and dams and stuff that were broken apart on that river and destroyed, and they're still doing it. I mean, we're still tearing down these low-head dams, and they're building the kayak features that Shaun was talking about. Those are going to make little smallmouth heavens, because they're creating current seams that make it easier for them to eat bait fish, So,
right. Yeah.
Right.
But definitely, man. The
what?
I just completely forgot.
Well, Shaun, what's so I guarantee you probably got like a truck to do this, right?
I do. So I got a truck, and I built a custom trailer. So it's a 10-foot trailer, but I put 2 racks on top. And then, that's where I keep my bona fides, is up on the top. But I actually just got some J hooks in the mail. So I think I'm going to go switch to the J hooks. But I fit 5 kayaks underneath, the first layer of my kayak. Then I got a second layer, and the bona fides are up there. But I'm going to switch those out, put the J hooks on there. So I think I can probably fit 9 kayaks on it.
I have 2 sets if you want them, dude. They're not being used. So if you want them, I'll be willing just to give them to you, because they're not, like, one of them's got a little bit of foam missing off of it. They're Malone ones.
All right.
I've had them on my I had them on my trailer, but I built the trailer to be a wet launch trailer. So, but they're just sitting in the garage. They're not going to get used, because I don't think that trailer will probably ever get converted back again. But
I'll take them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, dude. You're more than welcome.
I just realized that I like J hooks a lot better than, so right now I got PVC rails, and they're adjustable. I can adjust them for different types of kayaks, but I think I like the J hooks better.
Well, for what you're doing, there's no reason to have the PVC. Like if with those Pelicans and even the Bonafides, like
well, Bonafide, they're not straight. So I realized that the bottom hole's not straight. So
they're weird shaped. It's kind of like the outside pontoons are curved.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, the only thing those PVC, I'm not saying the only thing they're good for is this, but it's really not needed until you start getting in like over 90 pounds for your kayak, and you're looking at like, you know, a super wide 36 plus inch kayak, you're talking about pedal drives, that sort of thing. That's the only reason why I did that to my trailer, was put PVC, was because I had a pedal drive finally. And I was like, all right, I'm not turning this thing on its side. You know, I'm not carrying this thing around. I need a wet launch, you know. And when I was taking my regular river kayak out, I was just throwing the back of the truck. I usually didn't take the trailer anymore because, you know, even when I took the trailer, it seemed like we were like, it was kind of, Brad and I tend to go with a group, you know, instead of just us solo. A lot of times it'd be like 3, 4, 5 of us. So we would be able to take multiple trucks up and down the river, you know, that sort of thing.
Right.
But I don't know, man. Like, yeah, dude, you're more than welcome to have them if it'll help you out. Like, you know, I know the more you can get on that trailer, the better it's going to be for you. So
that's exactly. I want to see how many I can get on there. But I did toy around with the idea of getting a van. But I don't know that I'm going to, just because we're still post COVID. And the world just want to keep groups small for right now. So, you know, that might be something, kind of a advertising point, I guess, is that I can keep the group smaller, you know, a little more intimate. If I got to take 2 trips up the river, you know, so be it. I'll take 2 trips up the river. Or if somebody has to ride in the back of the truck, we're just going 5 miles up the river. I don't think it'll. So I'm going to hold off on the van, I think, for this year and see how it goes.
Or you get a van, like a prison van. You just make these certain little cells, like out of plexiglass.
The creeper van hauling kayaks.
Carrying, what's his face? Oh, gosh. Silence of the Lambs guy. Remember the one where he's in the plastic?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well,
we didn't hit your pricing, so let's talk about that a little bit before we end it. Okay,
so my rentals kayaks are $10 an hour. And that's just kind of based on the trip. I've thought about changing it around to trip prices. You know, you go from here to here, it's $30, but right now I have them at $10 an hour. And then for shuttle service, it's $20 for the first kayak, $10 each additional kayak. So you get 3 kayaks, it's $30, 4 kayaks, you know, so, or two kayaks, $30, 3 kayaks, $40. So, and I think that 10 just kind of covers the first 10, kind of covers gas. And then,
what about the bona fides? Are those a little bit more?
Yeah. So those are, I'm actually doing those by the day. Those are $150 for a half day, $200 for a day. So
not bad. And that gives people a chance, if they don't know how they feel about kayak fishing, that'll give them a chance to get their feet wet and see if they like it.
Right.
Yeah, because dude, first time I ever went kayak fishing, I almost didn't do it, man. I had such an awful experience. Like, I hated it. I was on a little sit inside.
Yeah.
What was it? The Eagle
fishing like this.
Yeah. So 15 minutes into it, I'm like, did somebody separate my spine? Like, what is happening? Like, dude, like, I had to get out. Like, I couldn't fish inside that thing. Well, first off, I wasn't used to fishing in a kayak, because I was just like, oh, that spot looks good. Blow right by it, you know? And so I'd have to get out and fish for a while. So it was kind of a pain, and my back hurt real bad. It wasn't very comfortable. So what I ended up doing was, it took me maybe almost another solid year until I was just like, I went and bought a nice expensive kayak, you know, like I was like, I'm going to save up the money, and I'm going to drop, some money on this. And, that I'm glad that I did that, just because I just saved like a lot of uncomfortable, kind of pissed off situations and days and stuff, like, because I know that day that I went, I didn't have fun. It was fun, but like, I was like, this should be a lot better. And if I'm going to spend that much time on foot fishing, I might as well just keep wade fishing. There's no reason for me to get a kayak. But once I ended up getting a Kusa HD, and, I was like, oh, these seats are 100 times better. I realized it was just a seat problem, not a kayak problem. So, but yeah, dude, I mean, it's a great idea, because you're going to introduce people to it. And with these, it's getting more and more like popular, right? And I think might have like, you might get this opportunity to kind of really step into it and shine because of COVID, because some people might still be like, I don't know if I want to go down the library. There's, 40 people waiting in line or whatever. And, it's just it's more of a personal thing. You don't have to fight a crowd. You don't have to worry about, you can take people more places because libraries it's set here to here, You have the option to kind of be like, hey, you guys if you want to go here? Yeah, sure. No problem. You guys try that out,
And that's another thing too, is all the liveries so far that I know of have cut off their personal kayak service.
Mm-hmm.
So there is nobody offering that this year. I know maybe in the past, Adventures of the Great Miami, I think they did offer that, but as of this year, as of so far, they haven't offered that. So that's where I come along.
I have no idea why. It makes no sense at all. I mean, I guess it's just because it increases the amount of people, because it's a person per boat type thing. So you're getting like a bigger crowd, I guess, together. But
I don't know how often that happens. I think it's more of an inconvenience thing, to be honest with you, because they're in a routine. They're moving the same boats. They do the same thing from here to here. You throw in and they throw them around too. They launch those things in the back. They don't care. And now all of a sudden they got somebody's bona fide, or they got their vibe, or they got their Hobie, and they got to take a little bit extra care of it. They don't want that.
I see what you're saying. You're talking about like the shuttling service. Yeah. I thought we were talking about like renting kayaks, like, you know what I mean? Like their own personal fleets that they have. So
so they're just not offering personal. So a person can't come to a livery and expect to get their kayak hauled.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not doing that this year. So
another cool thing that
I mean, like, I agree with you, Shaun. It's probably is like a hassle to them. They're like, oh, we got to be nice to this one, and
right. We got to treat it. Yeah, exactly.
I can see how that would be like nerve-wracking with somebody's Hobie or something,
Right.
It was funny though. I mean, I used, Brad, I used to use Loveland when I first got the Kusa, and because that was kind of their thing, is they're like, we'll do free shuttle for you for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But we ended up having a baby that year. And so like we didn't even use it. And Mark's like, well, we'll extend it for the next year. And I remember Laura and I went down there with our kayaks, and they were all like, oh, can you take the seat out? I'm like, it's all good, dude. I'm leave the seat in there all the time, bro. I just fold it down, like. And they're like, real gentle. I'm like, throw it on there, bro. Like, this is like, I mean, for Brad and I first fished together, I almost busted a hole in the bottom of his bonafide. So
I told Chris Yalk that the other day. I was like, dude, you see this? We put in there last weekend. I was like, you see this hill? Josh busted his butt right here.
First time I meet Brad, Shaun, and we go kayaking, and we're in, I think in Franklin or Middletown or whatever. And we launch, and there's this little steep hill, man. And I'm like, every time I'm on this thing, I slip. And I'm carrying his kayak. And I don't know where you might have been walking down backwards.
Yeah, I was back.
And I was walking down forward, and I hit those rocks, and I just ate shit, dude. And I couldn't even have dropped his kayak any harder than I did, without like literally just like body slamming it. But, it was pretty funny because I'm like, oh, dude, I feel like shit. Like this guy's like, oh, who is this dude? Just dropped my kayak, and it was there by the one stand, right? Like it's got the big metal bar that's in there.
Yeah.
I dropped it right on this big metal chunk. Like it's notorious for eating kayaks, basically. Like,
so I actually have a solution for that. I was thinking about it on the way home. So all those hills you got to pull up. You got to pull your kayak up when if you're not at just any launch, So I'm gonna get a winch and put on the front of my kayak so I can just pull them up those hills. Not only can I pull them up, but I can also lower them down those big grass hills. Like downtown where.
Yep.
So save you from smashing your face. Carrying kayaks down that hill. So
yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm adding a winch to the front of my trailer.
That's a good idea.
I just hope they come out soon with like some wheels, that aren't so invasive like the ones are. I have a cart. I love my Sea Tug. It's great, but it moves like a lot on the kayak. You hit a bump, it shifts around, but
Right.
You need to experience the awesomeness of the Wilderness Systems HD cart.
Yeah.
Best cart out there for a kayak.
Is that a scupper hole cart or no?
No. It's just a regular like H.
Oh,
Dude,
that's
I
right.
don't know.
It's got a rail system on it, right?
I don't know what it is. You don't have to strap the kayak down. You pull it and it stays on. It's some kind of material on the rails that holds the kayak on. I don't know what it is, but
that's the one. It's green, right? Is that the green and black one?
That's the Sea Tug.
Yeah, the HD cart is all metal, I think, with some pretty big plastic wheels, maybe something like that. I don't know.
See, the Sea Tug's nice because you can break it down and you can store it kind of easily in the kayak. So that's the benefit for that. And it's actually made of good material. Like I've had the same one for some time and it works good. It's just in some areas, man, if you ain't got that thing strapped tight, it's going to shift down the kayak. The good thing is it doesn't completely come off or twist away. Like, there's been times I've seen it slipping and I just keep going and I'm laughing because it's almost at the end, but the kayak is still on there, but it's I don't know. Like it worked a lot better with the Coosa HD than it does with my Kilroy. So, and I just think it was the way the shape. I don't know. I don't know why it kind of worked better with the Coosa, but it did. But I don't know, man. Shaun, like that. What you got? Anything kind of new that you're thinking about this year? Like anything that you're kind of really excited about with the company?
Man, it's the beginning. I mean, this is my first year. So I'm just excited to, get my name out there, start hauling people, start talking to people on the river, start, renting kayaks, just interacting with people. And yeah.
Sorry about that. I thought you started last year. That's my fault.
No, this is actually first year. So this is it.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, for some reason I kept thinking that I talked to Ryan about it, and I thought it was in the fall. So,
I've been talking about it for a long time.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I've probably been shuttling Ryan for probably since the fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know that. Well, man, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you or how to contact you?
Yeah, so right now I am on Facebook page. So my Facebook page, Taiters Kayak Solutions, all one word. You'll find me. Instagram, I'm not too hip to Instagram yet, but I'm learning fast that I need to get hip to Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm still in the process of building my webpage. So hopefully that will be coming soon. So right now it is mostly Facebook. But yeah, it's got my contact information on there. You can message me straight from there. You can call me from there. Yeah, but man, I'd love to get out and earn your listeners' business. Yeah.
Heck yeah, we'll
shuttle them.
We'll definitely share this up in all the groups and stuff and get the word out for you.
All right. Well, I thank you guys very much for the opportunity to be on your show. It's been a great time, and thank you guys very much.
Yeah, we'll have to get out and fish, man.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get out and fish.
Sounds good. Well, Josh, if you don't have anything else, man.
No, man. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Yeah, Shaun, good luck with everything, man. If you ever need anything, I'll give you my contact information, and I can get those J holders out to you. But man, I wish you the best, brother.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot.
Yep. Guys, thanks for listening. I hope this inspires somebody else in other cities, other states, because cool idea, man. So awesome. Great episode. I enjoyed it. Thanks for coming on again, man. We'll wrap it up now. We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Bye. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin. on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. Shout out to Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com.